Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Eliana Aaron from Care. I hope you had a good Shabbos, a quiet Shabbos, and that you stayed safe and protected your family. I've had a bunch of questions about mikveh. I answered one yesterday about men's mikveh, but a lot of women are asking about the women's mikveh. So I thought I would just answer those questions today. A lot of information is available on the website yoatzot.org, and those guidelines are actually written in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, so that people could have a legitimate answer. But I'm going to answer as much as I can. Specifically, people are asking. Number one, I've had this question posed a few times: if I'm in quarantine, can I go to the mikveh? And the answer is absolutely not. It's actually not only against the law, but it's against halacha. It's actually the Rabanut Harishit said, can't go to the mikveh if you are in quarantine, and it endangers yourself and it endangers other people. And in the case that somebody goes, then the whole mikveh has to be shut down. So very important to keep that in mind. That you're not allowed to go to the mikveh. And in fact, when you're actually in quarantine, you can't even kiss somebody because that's exactly how you transmit it. So intimacy is not even allowed in the case of a quarantine. But someone specifically said, are women's mikvahs doing anything to reduce corona exposure, such as disinfecting, etc.? So there are actually new guidelines for mikvahs in Israel, and you should contact your mikvah and make sure they're adhering to those regulations, but they're very specific, and I'm going to go through them so that you could feel comfortable knowing what to ask and to make sure that your mikvah is actually following these guidelines. So number one, of course, we already said women in quarantine cannot go to the mikveh. Number two is there is a heightened amount of cleanliness. Usually there is obviously a high level of cleanliness in a mikveh. In this case, the ba'alaniot are told to actually sterilize and wipe down and between people coming in. So all the rooms are supposed to be cleaned in between. There is a requirement to actually prepare at home and to come only to do the tefillah. So there should be absolutely no preparations at the mikveh. We want you to be in and out as quickly as possible. Be on time because we don't want to back people up. A lot of mikvahs are actually making appointments for people, and you have to come on time so that there aren't too many people in the mikveh at the same time. If there is more than one person in the waiting room, then there has to be a 2-meter space between them. And some of these waiting rooms are quite small, and it's going to be difficult. So make appointments, stick to them, come on time, and be fast. The ba'alaniot are also they're supposed to be wearing gloves, and there's instructions specifically that they shouldn't touch anybody. So they're not going to be touching people. And people are allowed to check themselves, and they will get instructions there what to do. But basically, there is no physical contact between people. Any woman who does not feel well, even if you are not in quarantine, if someone is sick, you may not go to the mikveh. And that's very important, again, for public safety, because some people who don't feel well, it may end up being something more serious. It could end up being the coronavirus, and we don't want to, God forbid, endanger other people. It's just good practice, and that is now a regulation. If a woman with a pre-existing medical issues or high risk, okay, not talking about someone who right now has a fever, I'm talking about someone who has underlying medical conditions. So first of all, they should be given the first appointments of the night. They should be the first person in and first person out. They should not stay in the prep room for too long. Again, appointments, please. For mikvahs with high volume, so there's many women that are coming on the same evening, then in the guidelines, it says that women may have to do one tefillah only and the bracha after the tefillah. So instead of doing whatever your minhag is, you may be restricted to one tefillah. And women are basically being told not to touch each other. So the balanit doesn't touch the women, and the women should not touch each other like, oh, it's good to see you. I don't know. You have to, again, any beauty appointments, like people like to get their nails done before the mikveh, and things like that, those are all restricted now. So please check what alternatives you have. If you have gel nail polish and things like that, you may need to ask your local religious authority. There are also all appointments are at night, so special appointments that are sometimes made for people who had to push off going to the mikveh, or for a bride, everyone has to come at night now. So those are some of the restrictions and guidelines that are in place now, and now legal guidelines by the Ministry of Health for mikvahs in Israel. I'm going to answer more questions tomorrow. I hope this covered a lot of what people were interested in, and I hope this is helpful. If you need more information about this, you can go to yoatzot, yoatzot.org, and there's a lot of information on there about this subject and many others. If you need more information, more questions about the coronavirus situation in English, you could go to coronavirus.healthcareisrael.com. Please stay safe. Take care.